We have so many guys to look off on the waiver wire this week that I can't waste your time talking about the obvious guys of last week. We're not going to be going through talking about someone like Donta Foreman here. Instead, we have some rookies that are on the brink of breaking out to save your fantasy team. But before we get into it, urgent. This week, we have a free bet on Underdog Fantasy. So I know everybody here was able to take advantage of the free bet last month with the Cooper Kupp over under half a receiving yard. Well, hell, if you're signed up to Underdog only with promo code FLOCK, are you going to be getting these? But we are going to have another one just like the Cooper Kupp bet. So please let me know in the comment section what you are wanting. And if you want to participate in these free bets with us going forward, this bet is going to be run, I believe, either on Friday or next Monday. Haven't decided yet. It's going to depend on what player y'all want down in the comment section. So go make sure you sign up for Underdog right now so you can take action in this. And when you sign up for Underdog, use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100 when you go through the link in the comment section, the link in the description. And on top of it, only with promo code FLOCK are you going to get access to these super cool free bets. Don't know if it's going to be Kupp, obviously, with the ankle injury, but go down in the comment section. Let me know what player you want. Maybe we can go through and look at a Derrick Henry rushing yard prop. Maybe we can look at a Josh Allen passing yard prop. Available in damn near every single state. And only with promo code FLOCK are you going to be getting these free bets. So please don't get confused if you signed up for Underdog and you didn't use promo code FLOCK and you don't see it. If you use code FLOCK, you should be good. But that should be it. Let's go through. Let's dive into this. Let's start it off with Kenyan Drake with Drake. I mean, hell, it looked like he was maybe going to win some matchups over the next month with Gus Edwards going down with the hamstring. Now, Rappaport tweeted out on October 30th that looks like the Gus Edwards hamstring injury is going to be minor. If he misses time, it's probably just a week. But if Gus Edwards were to miss a week, if he were to miss maybe two, because we know how sometimes these lower body injuries linger, you do have Kenyan Drake now in an offense where you have both no J.K. Dobbins as well as no Gus Edwards. Drake has looked explosive at times. We know Drake will be involved somewhat as a pass catcher as well. The man had 4 targets this past week. He had the receiving touchdown to go along with it. So I think you pick up Kenyan Drake, but please don't think he's some league-winning rest of season option. He's going to be a player to get you maybe through this upcoming week with the slate of buys, maybe through next week as well. But eventually you'll get back Edwards. Eventually you'll get back Dobbins. So Kenyan Drake is one of these players that we just want to churn through. Now our next guy, Latavius Murray in Denver. I'm honestly surprised to see this. I thought that if Javonte Williams were to go down, then Melvin Gordon was eventually just going to take over. He was going to be seeing about 75% of the snaps, 75% of the touches. Then we had a 3-man committee. Then Mike Boone gets sent to the IR. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it looks like Melvin Gordon is going to be that feature down. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Melvin Gordon plays 34 snaps compared to Latavius Murray at 27. Latavius Murray sees 14 carries. Latavius Murray out-touches Melvin Gordon, gets 46 rushing yards and the rushing touchdown to go along with it. Latavius Murray is somewhat being involved as a pass catcher as well. What is also a little surprising is Latavius Murray drew multiple targets out of this backfield, had more targets than Melvin Gordon as well. So even if Melvin Gordon's seeing the majority of the snaps here, if Latavius Murray is getting the majority of the touches, I mean, touches are probably more important than snaps if we were trying to chase these running back points. So I think Murray maybe is someone that we can look at now that you have Boone on the IR next to Javonte Williams. But now our next guy, a rookie that is still somehow not rostered in 50% of leagues. James Cook has been on every waiver wire video for us for the past month. He's been on our buy low running back video this past week. I mean, James Cook looks pretty damn good. He sees 5 carries compared to Devin Singletary's 14. So yes, Singletary has a larger role there, but clearly he has leapfrogged Zach Moss on this depth chart and he's getting involved as a pass catcher. You had James Cook with the explosive reception this past week in primetime with the 41 receiving yards and the 1 reception to go along with it. I think with James Cook, he now falls in line as a premium handcuff running back, where we know coming out of Georgia, he was a phenomenal pass catcher. Where if something were to occur to Devin Singletary, kind of looks like he may be getting his role scaled back just a bit here. All of a sudden, Cook could become a must-start guy every week because I think he would be a perfect player for the Buffalo Bills. And now maybe they want to go 5 wide. I mean, put James Cook out there in the field, very similar to what the Jacksonville Jaguars can do with Travis Etienne. Cook's nowhere close to Etienne. Don't think that. But how you can have that running back that's such a good pass catcher, he can kind of go out wide, and it gives the Buffalo Bills a ton of optionality with their personnel. So I'm expecting to see more and more James Cook going forward and less Devin Singletary. But speaking of rookies, let's go over and let's look at the rookie tight end in Denver. I mean, I told some people to play Kyle Pitts over Greg Dulcich this week, and honestly, it was a bad call. After seeing the London game, after seeing Denver's rookie tight end go out there his rookie season, 4 receptions, 87 receiving yards, 5 targets, the one drive that Denver looked good, they were just going to Dulcich over and over and over again. This looks like one of the very few tight ends in fantasy that could turn into a player that we're starting on a week-to-week basis. I mean, I kind of want to go, I told you so. Jerry Jeudy's the wide receiver 1 over Cortland Sutton. In reality, we're kind of wrong. The rookie tight end here is the number 1 receiving option over Jerry Jeudy as well. But now going over to another rookie. We got a ton of rookies on here. Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks? Nope, we have not seen him this past week. We haven't seen Treylon Burks since October 2nd, but I'm no mathematician. If I count this out, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So it sounds like Treylon Burks is going to be eligible to be activated off the IR. Maybe you don't want to go through and pick up Treylon Burks right this second. But instead, what you could potentially do is just throw Treylon Burks on your watch list and go, okay, well, if Treylon Burks gets activated, if Ryan Tannehill comes back in, then that's a player that we want. Obviously, you kind of want Tannehill over Malik Willis based on what we just saw where Malik Willis completed one. He had like 10 passing attempts. It was something obnoxiously bad. He'd been doing his worst impersonation of Marcus Mariota out there. So you do need Tannehill in here for the passing volume in this offense, it looks like. But I think Tannehill probably comes back soon. Treylon Burks probably comes back soon. He was a very good prospect coming out of Arkansas. But now going down to a better prospect, probably not going to be available in the majority of your leagues, but I am surprised to see Garrett Wilson still out there on some waiver wires. Of course, I'm assuming that this is 10-team leagues. Maybe this is 8-team leagues. I don't know. We're going to bring it up, talk about it just for a second, because if Garrett Wilson's on your waiver wire, he would be better than almost any other option on this video. You know what? Let me say it for a fact. He would be better than any other option. Elijah Moore gets straight up benched here. They look at Elijah Moore and go, hey, man, if you don't want to be with this team, I don't care if you're one of our most talented wide receivers. You can go sit on the sidelines. Okay, you want to request a trade in year 2 on your rookie deal, or this is the NFL. You can't do that. This isn't the NBA. What are you thinking? My man, go sit on the sidelines. We got Garrett Wilson. We have a better wide receiver overall. I mean, Corey Davis obviously banged up. You had Denzel Mims playing 44 snaps this week. If Denzel Mims is playing 44 snaps, Braxton Berrios is playing 30. That shows how desperate the Jets are for any pass catcher here. Garrett Wilson, a phenomenal talent, even if this isn't a great offense. The man still goes out there. He has 115 receiving yards. Obviously, we had the flash at the beginning part of the season, which is why I thought Garrett Wilson should be rostered in every single league. Maybe some people dropped him over the past few, but sticking with this common trend, let's go back to the tight end position in this same offense. Because Elijah Moore is getting benched here, because this team is desperate for playmakers, you're right back to Tyler Conklin, someone else that was crushing back at the beginning of the season with Joe Flacco, as someone that looks like you can start him in fantasy. Hell, he had 10 targets this past week, 6 receptions, 79 receiving yards, and multiple receiving touchdowns as well. So I guess if you remove Elijah Moore, Corey Davis banged up, Denzel Mims, your wide receiver 2, you're going to have no other option but to go through and heavily involve Tyler Conklin. I mean, tight end that I don't think is that great, but it doesn't matter when he's seeing this kind of volume, and it's one of the worst positions in the NFL. But now going over to our next guy, Rondell Moore, right up there with Garrett Wilson as one of the premier options in this video. Say Rondell Moore, Garrett Wilson, probably the top 2. Rondell Moore not going to be available in the majority of leagues. This is going to be for a 10-team format. But Rondell Moore this past week, great week. The man had 8 targets, 7 receptions, 92 receiving yards. We talked about this coming into the season, that even if the Arizona Cardinals are a bad team, even if the Arizona Cardinals are never going to be a team that you need to worry about actually winning a playoff game, etc., being a good real life unit. It doesn't matter. Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray, they go out there and they push the pace of play where they're going to try to run more plays than any other team in the NFL. Saw this past week with, 44 passing attempts from Kyler, 22 total rushing attempts from this team. You're going to have so much passing volume that doesn't really matter if Hopkins comes through and sees 13 targets. Rondell Moore is still able to have himself a day at 7 receptions, 92 receiving yards, and the receiving touchdown. And if we're looking at the snaps played, Rondell Moore played 77 snaps compared to DeAndre Hopkins at 78. And then the next best receiver, AJ Green at 37. Snaps don't matter that much for wide receivers. What more so matters is the actual targets these guys are drawing. But it's kind of surprising to see that they're running significantly more 2 wide receiver sets than they have in the past. Maybe this is because they have Hollywood Brown obviously down, but looks like Rondell is someone that you can look to start in a full PPR format. But now going over to our next guy, Joshua Palmer coming off the bye. So the last week we saw from Joshua Palmer, the man had 12 targets, 9 receptions, 57 receiving yards. Now with Palmer, he had some flashes earlier in the year. Obviously, we've had no Keenan Allen pretty much the entire season. But if you look at how Palmer and Mike Williams versus Keenan Allen operate in this offense, I would make the argument that Keenan Allen is kind of his own guy here. That Keenan Allen almost doesn't even play the same position as Mike Williams, the same position as Joshua Palmer, where Keenan Allen is going to be that flanker wide receiver, running routes close to the line of scrimmage, running crossing route after crossing route, soaking up a ton of targets underneath, where we know Williams is going to be that boundary guy. And I think with Joshua Palmer, maybe you would actually rather have Mike Williams out than Keenan Allen in this Los Angeles Chargers offense, where now they're going to push the ball to the boundary. They kind of have to go in the direction of Joshua Palmer. You had 8 targets back, week 2 against the Chiefs. You had 9 targets week 3 against Jacksonville. This past week, 12 targets. Mike Williams with the ankle sprain. Looks like it's going to be a safe spot for Palmer. Not going to try to sell him as a league-winning player here. No, I don't think he has the same league-winning upside that you're going to get with someone like Garrett Wilson, Rondell Moore. My opinion, those are going to be the 2 main guys that we're looking at this week. But I think you would be very similar to what we have with like Kenyan Drake, where maybe you're not excited about his league-winning potential in the second half of the season, but you would be excited if you needed to get someone in your starting lineup this week or next week with the buys coming up. And now our next guy on this list, we are going to have Ernest Johnson. With Ernest Johnson, obviously have not seen him play, and yes, we are saying to pick him up before his Monday night game against Cincinnati. I don't think he does anything in this game, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. But if you're buying in to the Kareem Hunt trade rumors, I think Ernest Johnson's probably worth the raw spot, where Ernest Johnson would probably slide in and be just a slightly worse version of Kareem Hunt if Kareem Hunt were to get traded out of Cleveland. And the thing is, if Kareem Hunt were to get traded out of Cleveland, then Ernest Johnson becomes one of the most premium handcuffed running backs in the entire NFL. Because if Hunt were to get traded out of Cleveland, then you're rolling with Nick Chubb and Ernest Johnson. If Nick Chubb were to go down in that scenario, you could project Ernest Johnson to be a low-end RB1, a high-end RB2, based on what we had a year ago when he was the last guy standing in this offense. So I want to pick him up. What's going to be very nice about picking up Ernest Johnson, you're not even going to have to submit a waiver wire claim. You can just pick him as a free agent before the game. You can hold him until the trade deadline this week. And if Kareem Hunt's not moved, then wash your hands of him. Send him right back down there to the waiver wire. But hell, until the NFL trade deadline, probably a pretty good spot to hold on to him. And now, speaking of premium handcuff running backs, what leagues do y'all plan for these players to be available on the waiver wire? If Alexander Madison is available on your waiver wire, he is one of the very few players that could truly win a fantasy football league. Like, instead of going through and picking up some marginal receiver off waivers, instead of holding on to Josh Reynolds on your team, you have to go get someone like Alexander Madison. Madison this past week, no, you're not going to be able to use this as a point to say, okay, look, you can start him. He had 10 points. He had the rushing touchdown. Not selling you to go and start Alexander Madison because the man had a rushing touchdown. It's just when you have a player that has access to this ceiling, if Dalvin Cook were to miss time, I would argue he's probably the best handcuff running back in the NFL, right alongside Tony Pollard as well as A.J. Dillon, even though Pollard's looking like he's taking the crown based off this past week. But I think that's all we got. Of course, thank you so much for supporting this video. I'd say the top 3 guys on the video are going to be the combo of Garrett Wilson, Rondell Moore, and Alexander Madison, depending on what your team's going to need. Obviously, you're going to need to be playing in a shallower format to get those guys, though. And one last thing, people are going to tell you to pick up Caleb Huntley. I'm not buying it. Very bad offense. You're going to get Cordell Patterson back in here. I would rather pick up, the majority of these guys than Caleb Huntley, if I'm going to be honest. So don't waste your waiver wire claim on Huntley. Pick up one of these cheaper options just as a free agent. But thank you again. Truly do appreciate you. Of course, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you play fantasy football, make sure you go check out these player props. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, and only with promo code FLOCK, you get access to these free bets. A month ago, we had the Cooper Kupp line. This week, don't know which one we are going to have just yet. Let me know what you would want in the comment section. But go down to the link in that comment section. Sign up for Underdog. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200 with promo code FLOCK. And only with code FLOCK are you going to get these free bets. Also available in damn near every state. But thank you again. I appreciate you. Hope we get to see you in the live stream tonight.